Welcome to this week's video. I'm excited to jump into part 2 of our trip to Italy. In case you missed last week's video or even a couple of the other videos before that, we took a trip to Italy to do an art retreat there, and we went a few days early. I tell about that part in the first part of the retreat in last week's video. I've created a whole playlist so you can see what I've packed, how I prepared for the trip, the videos of the trip. All of that will be in one playlist titled something like Painting Italy or something like that. It'll be easy to find. The second part of our retreat, though, is what I want to cover in this video, because we did 2 outings, left the retreat center, which the retreat center was amazing. If you missed last week's video, don't miss it, because where we were, we could have just stayed there the whole week. We really didn't need outings, but we learned a lot of lessons from the outings, and I want to cover that in this week's video. So the first place we went to was called something like Kefu Shefula. I was pronouncing it wrong the whole time, and I'm still pronouncing it right. I'll put the name of it here. It was absolutely beautiful. We did this kind of tour down to this cathedral, and we were going to tour the cathedral too. We did that really quick because it was super hot, but basically we kept seeing all these amazing views on the way down that we were like, we want to paint. But our tour guide was giving us kind of this tour, and we got down in front of this cathedral, and before we went in, we were all like, no, we want to sketch. So we literally just stood in the middle of the road, probably definitely no more than 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, sketching our hearts out. Most people had not ever even done this kind of sketching before. It was so packed. There were so many people around us, and we were just doing it. I'm used to doing that, but it was interesting how people got to experience the pack. All of us there, the franticness, the adrenaline that happens when you're painting like that it's very addicting. No. This is the one that I did while we were standing there, frantically sketching the cathedral, and I just love it. I love doing the statues. This was another statue at the last minute that I saw, so it kind of looks like that guy's going off into the clouds. I don't know, there's just something about this that I absolutely love. I have no idea what I'm doing here in this picture, but I was getting some applause for whatever I was doing. I don't know. I was probably sketching and talking to our group and then being like, isn't this so fun? Or something like that. I don't know. Then after the quick cathedral, I was going to say tour, I went in there. I was already super hot. It was so hot. So I was like, I've got to get out of here. We went and got something cold to eat or drink. It was this really wonderful strawberry slushy yumminess. I don't even know what it was. It was just wonderful, cooling me down on the inside. And then we found a place just kind of off to the side in this piazza, is that what it's called? This little square. And a bunch of us just found a spot to sketch. Unfortunately, our group kind of got broken up because Grady needed to get me cooled off very quickly. I really struggle with heat, and anyways, that's a whole nother story. But so our group kind of got broken up, which was a little sad, but there was a small group of us. We sat there and cooled down and chatted and just sketched some more, which was really wonderful. I have great memories of that moment of sitting there, or a few moments of sitting there sketching together. Then on our way to lunch, we had a spot we were going to meet up all together, have lunch together, and we found some other beautiful views on the way. I found this really weird teddy bear thing. I have no idea what this is, but I took pictures of it because it was really cute. So then we had lunch at this really amazing place. In fact, I would have probably liked to have just rented this whole restaurant out and painted in the back part of it, because it had these views overlooking the sea that just were literally mind-blowing. And a bunch of us, while we were waiting for our food, were sketching, and some people were taking pictures of me sketching and stuff like that. But I did kind of just a very quick sketch. I think I didn't realize how long we would actually be there. Everything took a little long to order and check out and all of that. But I did this one quick sketch, and And it was just really nice to sit down, cool down, have a nice lunch, everybody take a breather before we got back out for the day. This is the one that I did while we were there at the restaurant, and there were a lot of people just out in the sea, like taking a little dip and stuff. It felt like it was like their lunchtime and they were having like a little chat. So that was fun to try to capture. There was also this amazing Ferris wheel out there, and then of course the boats, but I didn't have a lot of time or materials, so I just quickly did this. So we had kind of snatched on the way there, like places like, ooh, this would have been a good place to stop and sketch. Ooh, we want to paint here. After we had done some touring, which a lot of us were like done with doing like the tour stuff, we were ready to paint. So we went back to this one spot that we found that had a really nice view. It started raining on us like as soon as we all got our stuff out. I did one sketch in somebody else's sketchbook because Grady was off trying to find somebody that we thought was lost, and they actually weren't lost. Long story, but basically I used somebody else's sketchbook and supplies. Then while it was raining, Grady was talking to somebody, I don't know, and I got some footage of his hat. For some reason, he just kept wearing his hats weird all week, and I wanted to document it. We stood here for a little bit, sketched this, and then basically it was almost time to go, like, get on the bus. So we walked back up to where the bus was because we remember as soon as we got dropped off, there was this great view of, like, the bay and boats and stuff. So we all took, I don't know, I'm really bad with time. I just know it was not nearly enough time. 10, 15 minutes maybe before the bus driver was like there. We had to load up. So we were all like, this is where we wanted to have painted all day. We could have spent hours there, but we had the whole day of all this other stuff. So we were in frantic mode, which I'm going to show you some footage in a minute of me talking about that at dinner. I'm so thankful that we had this experience. Some of us were really frustrated at this point because we just had this short amount of time, but it was a really great lesson actually. And the sketch that I did here was one of my favorites from the entire week quick sketch, and I've been doing some paintings that I'll show you in the next video that are just some of my favorites from this time because our senses were so alive and active, and we were in we need to get this down because we may never be here again. This is one of my favorite sketches. I am keeping this one for myself. I'm actually doing a lot of painting in the studio from this sketch. I'll be showing you all the paintings, all the sketches. There's a lot that I'm not showing you, and there's going to be a third video where I do all of that, and I'll show you the paintings that I'm doing from this sketch right here. This was done super fast, 10 minutes or less. Then on the drive to this place early that morning, we had passed on the road this view of being able to look down on this city, on this little village that we had been in all day. And our tour guide had said, if we have time, we'll have the bus driver on the way out stop there for just a few minutes and y'all can sketch. Now, when we talk about a few minutes, basically the bus driver was going to stay there until the police made him move because you're not allowed to pull over there. So you can imagine how frantic we were and how little amount of time we had, but this view was also wonderful. So I just had colored pencils. I was literally just dipping my hand into the bag and grabbing. I think I only used 3 colors. But again, this was a wonderful time. We all loved it. It was a great lesson, and we were frantic to capture it all down. We should have all been exhausted on the way back. This is what's interesting about it. The last little bit of that whole day, all day we were all just we want to paint, we want to paint. We were just doing this tour guide stuff. And by the time we did get to capture these scenes, we were in adrenaline mode. What was interesting, on the bus drive back, it was a little over an hour. We should have all been exhausted, totally exhausted. What was interesting, I was taking note of how buzzed the bus was. It was so loud. Everybody was talking. Everybody was still in adrenaline mode. We were just hyped after this frantic painting and sketching and doing it. Again, so many people had not done this before, been out among people and really sketching. And it really was transforming for a lot of people. Here's the one that I did from that, what we're calling bus stop view. In fact, that evening, I can't believe I'm going to show this footage, but that evening, I was trying to talk us through that day and the frustrations, but the lessons that we learned. And somebody caught the last part of it on video. So I'm going to play that for you, but let me fill you in on what it really was, or what I was trying to say. I started off by talking about how, yes, let's acknowledge some of it. We were kind of frustrated. We were wanting to paint all day. It was like, let's get to painting. Let's get to painting. We can't paint. Why can't, and because of that, this urgency building, we really made some amazing sketches. I was trying to explain to them how in the early days of painting, and I felt like this too, I told them, I started this whole little dialogue with saying, I wish somebody had told me in the early days of my painting this. Don't just come to this canvas where you're going to paint this amazing painting from beginning to end, and it need to be something sellable. Because the whole point is we've got to have these kinds of frantic, get the stuff down. Those times are so important. But for some reason, we feel like we have to produce something sellable. And everybody got a taste of how important and how fun and how wonderful the artwork we made when we were more in frantic mode and just capturing it and letting just intuition and mark making capture things. So here's a little snippet of the end of that, how I was trying to dramatize what we do when we're painting, or what I used to do and what we can do often. So here's that footage.
I'm going to paint Niagara Falls with oil, and I've never used oil, and it is going to sell for a lot of money. Oh my! Or if it doesn't, I can never paint again. I cannot. Hairs. Because I need every droplet of water in Niagara Falls, or it's meaningless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that you leave here realizing that the 10 minutes, the bus is here and they want me to do this. I gotta get it down. And then tomorrow you're going to look at those and go, there was some energy in that my Niagara Falls, new oil paint, 3 bristles.
Oh, that's so funny.
You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
That's just, why do we do that?
Then we had maybe another day or two, I can't remember, back at the studio doing our normal studio schedule, which I talked about in the first video, where we would kind of be in the studio early in the morning for a quick here's what we're going to do for the day. We would get out before it got too hot. We would paint outside. I would do a demo. And as the week went on, we did some warm-ups that were really fun. And also I was spending more time kind of looking over people's shoulders, seeing what they're doing, asking if I could help. Do they want feedback? Because I really wanted to give people time to warm up to painting, maybe for the first time ever, landscape painting, painting around other people, painting around the teacher. All those things can be hindrances. So I didn't do much of that looking over and kind of going around to people till a little bit later in the week after we'd gotten used to things. Then it was time for our next outing to a place called Ganji. I think I am pronouncing that one right. Okay, let me just first mention, on the buses, I learned from the very first time that there was a microphone on the bus. So our tour guide was giving us tour stuff, and I kept thinking, give me that microphone because I want to tell people stuff. It was a teaching time, and I finally ended up getting the microphone. This was at the end of, I think maybe either this day or the other day, I can't remember, and I was basically apologizing for how bad my hair looked. For some reason, I was inspired by my bedhead when I woke up, and decided that would be a good look for the day, which was really bad, and it just got worse as the day went on. So I was, grabbing the microphone, unfortunately yelling in Grady's ear, poor Grady. Anytime I got that microphone, I think he was but it really worked out well because I gave some good color lessons on one of the drive back one day and that kind of thing. But yeah, me and the microphone. Oh, also, I was 2 or 3 rows back, and it was attached to the front of the bus, so I had that thing like stretched to its max. I wanted to go up to the front and just stand, but I think Grady thought that would be a little dangerous. So anyways, okay, here's one of my little Mike moments.
Wow. So I just feel very sorry for those that have taken photos or videos.
So one of the things that our tour guide did great for us was on the way to Ganges, like driving to it, which Ganges is this big mountain and this like huge village on the mountain, just 50 million houses. It's really cool. So that's where we were going, but we stopped. The tour bus stopped, like again, in the middle of the road. We jumped out on somebody's property in between two roads. It was like this little V thing. We jumped out. Everybody just did it. Like we were just sketching. I'm yelling out lessons, do that. Oh, I didn't have a mic at that point. I'm sketching too. I don't know why I just did that because I was in mic mode. Anyways, I'm like, just capture it. Let your eyes adjust. Sometimes we or others would be yelling out things that we'd see and start noticing so we could capture that.
The top of this mountain says a lot about that there's buildings. You maybe want to just blind concentrate.
Again, it was very short, like 10 minutes, maybe 15 max. And we just had to capture it. I feel like maybe it could have even been just 5 minutes. My sketch was quite simplistic. Anyways, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see everybody just doing it, not feeling nervous, not feeling worried about what other people were thinking. At this point, there were people doing this and capturing things that had not been able to before. It was just really fun. So that was a wonderful experience. Is that how it goes?
No.
Oh.
The price is right.
That's the price is right. I don't think. How did we decide we spell this place? At this place, we only had half a day. So we had kind of learned our lesson from the first outing that it was like, if we see something that we want to paint, we are doing it. We're not like, we don't have time for tour guide stuff today, though there's probably wonderful things to learn about this place. We're here to paint. That's how we all felt, or most of us felt. So as soon as we pulled in with the bus had not even like parked to let us out. And we saw this food truck and we were like, we are painting that. So we all, again, we were in the road. We all just piled up, people everywhere, people noticing us. We were just doing it. It was so fun just capturing the food truck. I'm sure the people there that lived there were like, why is this so interesting? Because this was basically like a grocery store on wheels that would come with like fresh veggies and stuff. And they were probably like, why is this so interesting? But it was very interesting. So we sat there, we just plunked down, sketched. Again, I was calling out things like, oh, look at the poster behind the thing. Look at this, look at that. And later I was like, oh, I hope that wasn't annoying. And people were like, no, that was so helpful because I hadn't noticed that. And I think I was doing that too because I was so used to doing that kind of thing, sketching out in public. I wanted to be a help to those and help them see and capture the things that I knew were fun that I was seeing and that sometimes would be overlooked when you're not used to being out in public like that, things that were like under the truck or off to the left or that kind of thing. So then we headed like down the mountain a little bit or down like the village. We got a little bit of tour guide stuff. And then we came to this, basically, I think another piazza, I think is what it's called, but it basically kind of opened up. We went down these like tiny roads and it opened up and it was a really cool spot because we had like really cool buildings, but then over here we had this amazing view of basically looking down this massive mountain with all the rooftops. And then we had like little cafes, there were people there. It was just a lot. So it gave us a lot of opportunity to just give people time to paint and sketch with a lot of different subject matter. So we just hung out there for quite a while. Some people toured around, some people went and got gelato. A lot of us just like plopped down different places and started sketching, which is what I did.
other church because it had to become more.
And here's what's interesting. We had these two guys come over, and one of the things that we found about Italians is that hardly anybody spoke English, or at least they're in Sicily, Italians in Sicily. Hardly anybody spoke English, and as soon as you made that clear that like you don't speak Italian, you only speak American or you only speak English, it's like that did not faze them at all. They just kept talking away as though you would understand, and we would constantly be like, no, only English, no Italian or whatever we do. And I mean, just keep on. These two guys, and they were just talking up a storm to me. We had somebody there that could slightly translate, and basically she figured out one of them was an artist, the guy that was sitting closest to me. And so he was asking what we were doing, and I was trying to say that I'm teaching. This friend like could, kind of translate. She was trying to, anyways, it was all a funny thing. But this picture that Maggie got of me is my favorite picture from the whole trip. I just loved like the moment and me laughing and these two guys trying to talk to us. It just, for me, just captured and summed up the trip in just such a wonderful way. So I did a couple of sketches there in this piazza. This is one that I did very quickly there in that little plaza. Then I think we went and got gelato. And then our tour guide came and said, like, the bus is going to be here in like 10 minutes. So I went over to this one, like the best view I hadn't even seen because I was there just doing other things. I'd gotten in the mode and I knew our time was short. So somebody had pointed out, hey, there's this amazing view. So I like went over there and I was just like, I can't believe I have not been sitting here painting this. So I sat down with just literally a few minutes and tried to capture this amazing scene of just like, I mean, it just seemed like it went on forever, all these rooftops and just piled in there. And so that's what I did, frantic. And then we like ran to go get to the bus. And then this is the one that I did there, and this one sold while I was there at the retreat. Then it was time for the very last day of our retreat. We were all kind of feeling it, you know what I mean? Like the sadness of it, and I don't think any of us were ready to go home. So we did our normal thing, like have breakfast, then we had like a recap of what we were going to do for the day, and I'm trying to think. Oh, no, I was going to say, did I do any teaching? No, what I did for that whole day, which is stunning that it took the entire day to do this, but I wanted to give everybody like some really intense one-on-one time to either like show me some stuff that they had not had a chance to show me, talk about things of, with like, where do you want to go with your art, just whatever. I just wanted to give focused time. So Grady laid out this very like schedule for me for the entire day. It only allowed like 10 or 15 minutes, maybe just 10 minutes with each person because we had a pretty big group. It was like 16 people. So I just did like one-on-one all day long. Grady had bathroom time scheduled and lunchtime. And he was like the whole week he was like this he was like the timekeeper, the schedule person. Okay, it's time. You got 10 more minutes, then y'all gotta, it was very endearing and actually very, very helpful. I'm so thankful I had that because we would not have stayed on schedule at all the whole entire week if it had been left up to me. So this time was really special. By then I'd formed relationships with everybody. I was blown away with their work through the week and also just the growth. There were some people that came that were like, I don't paint like you at all. Like I do complete different, like just abstracts, and not understanding then how to like interpret what we were doing, and just seeing people completely transform by the end of the week just blew my mind. There were so many paintings that people showed me that I wanted to purchase like for myself. I couldn't decide like, do I ask somebody if I can buy this? Because I knew that this was special artwork to them too, and I just thought, no, I couldn't decide. Would that feel more special to have somebody purchase their work or to take it home and keep it? And I just decided I'm going to just ooh and ah over it and let people keep it. I did get one painting as a gift that I loved, and I'll show that to you the next video when I do the whole tour of like all the work that I've been doing, that I did there, that I've been doing since I've been home. But that time was really tiring for me because there was just this intense focus and just literally all day talking and listening It was just different, but we got just great feedback about it, of how generous and how helpful that time was. So it was really special and also hard to say bye to everybody. So then the next day it was time to go home, and I don't think I have any footage of that. I think we just, like, everybody was packing that morning. We had breakfast together, and it was a little bit of a whirlwind. I thought I was going to be riding back on the bus with everybody, so I thought I would have time to, like, kind of say goodbyes, get the microphone again. And it was like the last minute. Everybody was on the bus, and then we were told we had our own shuttle. So that felt really weird to not, like, kind of say goodbye in that way. I mean, I was like, I didn't get to hug everybody. And anyways, it just is what it is. Then we had to go close to the airport, which was like 2 hours or a little more than that, 2 hours away, and stay the night there because our flight, I think we had to get up at like 2 in the morning. Our flight left really early, and so we just had to spend the day in, I think, Palermo is where it was. We were absolutely exhausted. Grady took some pictures of me. I was just sitting in this chair. We stayed at this kind of sketchy place. And I really didn't want to, like, sit on any of the furniture or anything. I was just sitting there. I did some sketching from photos that I had taken there, that places on the property that I'd wanted to sketch from but didn't have time. So I did one sketch there. And then Grady took these photos of me of where I was, and just like, I was utterly exhausted. And then we came home, and then we both got sick. Grady got the flu, and I had like severe diarrhea. And then we had like some really hard family stuff, dear close family member that passed. And we've just been in a little bit of a whirlwind since that retreat, trying to keep our heads above the water. But that's just life and how it is sometimes. But man, that trip was a trip of a lifetime and very special. And we are excited about doing another one at some point. We don't know exactly when. We're definitely going to do more retreats, some other workshops that aren't like overseas and stuff like that. If you're interested in anything like that, where you need to sign up is on my blog. So make sure you're subscribed and signed up. It's free. I don't spam you, but that is just definitely where we announce online classes, workshops, anything like that. That's the first place. Also, any of the paintings that you've been seeing are up on the website. There's a handful of things still left for sale, so if you're interested in those. If you are interested in, like, maybe you can't do a retreat right now, but you are interested in learning some of the things that I taught and seeing me work in that kind of environment, I've got 2 classes online. The newest one, though, from last year that we did, we took a trip to Santa Fe and filmed the whole thing. So you get to see me in that environment, taking notes, and then I bring those sketches and paintings home and make bigger works from those, and we filmed that whole thing. So that is an online class that is actually very helpful. I hear from people all the time, like usually daily, about how helpful my classes are. So that's a way for you to kind of go on a trip with us without going on a trip. And there are hours and hours. I can't remember at this point how many hours that class is, but all the info's there. Links to all that is below in the description. You can also get to everything on my website, sandyhester.com. All of that's there. Okay, let's wrap this up. Next week, no, not next week, in 2 weeks, the next video, I'm going to share with you all the work that I did there. There's a lot I've not shown you, and the work that I've done up to this point in the studio from all the sketches. I'm going to show you all of that in the next video. I hope you've enjoyed going on this journey with us, and I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. 2, not 4, 2.